So good evening, sir. Welcome.
Yes, good evening.
So today Madras High Court sentenced Savukku Shankar, one of the affable YouTuber, to 6 months imprisonment in the contempt petition against him. So the bench refuses to suspend the sentence on the request of contemptor. The previously what was the case was filed against Mr. Shankar was the entire higher judiciary is riddled with corruption, he said. So for that only the Madras High Court has sentenced today. So what's your view on this, sir?
Shankar, I know Savukku Shankar. He was working in the police department as a clerical cadre. He was working in the vigilance and anti-corruption department. It is a separate department. It is not connected with the police. It will not come under the control of police. There is a separate DGP or separate ADGP will be posted. And the duty of the vigilance and anti-corruption will be just to inquire, register cases against the ex-ministers, against the higher government servant, IAS, IPS, against all government departments, the revenue department, registration department, and RTO, that is transport department. They will go for a surprise check. They will recover all the if there any bribe has been collected, they will recover the money from the table or from the pocket of the person. This is what, if you go to the registration department, if you say V&C, they will shiver. People will shiver because they will be making surprise raid. RTO office, they will shiver on hearing the name of vigilance and anti-corruption. So they have got such a big responsibility, just a big power. And even they can arrest ex-ministers and all the top officials. Even against Jayalalitha, it was only the vigilance and anti-corruption department which had filed the FIR. So it is such a powerful department. There Shankar was posted as a PA to some higher police officer. And these vigilance and anti-corruption, they will be recording the calls, they will be keeping it, all sorts of investigation they will be doing. So one of the important recording had been leaked when Shankar was the PA. That is why Shankar was suspended. And after that, for a long period, he was under suspension. Now Shankar had started giving interviews in the YouTube, and he was speaking some good things. I had even appreciated, and while meeting him in an interview in a television channel, I was advising him, and please go very slowly. You are going very fast. You will be entangled in trouble, and already you have suffered a lot in the police department. Don't do that. Do everything with authenticated evidence. This is what I used to advise him when I had met once. I had advised him only like that. Now what had happened? He had made blame against the judiciary. He had blamed against a judge called Swaminathan. And he was making allegations, stating that somebody has come and he had talked with him, just like that. The allegation should be supported by evidence. He is in a very higher post. He is the judge of the Madras High Court. If you want to put any allegation against such a powerful person, you must have solid evidence. And okay, even if you have solid evidence, you should go and make a complaint to the Chief Justice of Madras High Court. And there is vigilance department in the High Court. You should go and complain to the vigilance department. Or otherwise, you can even send a complaint to the President of India, and he will be forwarding the complaint to the Chief Justice, Supreme Court. This is the procedure according to law. According to law, this is the procedure which has been followed by all the people, whether they are in judiciary or outsiders. So Shankar, instead of giving any complaint, if he has got any authenticated evidence, he could have given a complaint against the judge. Rather, instead of that, he was talking a hill about him in a YouTube interview. This is not the right way, because there are so many forums and in the judiciary. So you should have approached those forums. And that too, while blaming about the particular judge, you should have solid evidence. Without that, if you go on talking like this, that is not the independence of the press, that would not come under independence of a press. So what had happened? And all the judges are not bad. There are very good judges even in High Court. I myself had made some interviews without naming the person. He was, because the problem is that he had named the name of the judge. So I had even made a comment stating that all sorts of corruption is going on. That was not my own remark. Markandeya Gaju, when he was the Chief Justice of Madras High Court, he had given an interview stating that there are corruption complaints against 550 lower court judges. This is what he said. By quoting the statement of Markandeya Gaju, I was giving the interview stating that even Chief Justice of Madras High Court Markandeya Gaju had admitted that there are corruption complaints against 550 judges. Even I was talking that even in Madras High Court, some of the judges are giving the judgment based on the face value. If they know some persons, they are giving judgment in favor of him. That was also a general complaint, not referring to any particular judge. But Savukku Shankar has been making allegation by naming the judge. Then he has got the responsibility to prove it. All the judges are not bad. Even recently, with regard to the ADMK issue, that hearing was held at the midnight. I just condemn it. Midnight hearing should not be entertained. That too, you are doing it only for rich people or politicians. When Karunanidhi's memorial had to be decided, and you had conducted a midnight hearing, and in the case of ADMK General Council, you had conducted a midnight hearing. Will you be conducting the same midnight hearing for poor people? That is what I asked. These are all general reference, not referring to any particular individual. But he was referring to by naming a judge. That is not in good script, because even in judiciary there are some good judges. Some of them are bad, and for which they are facing the consequences. Because if you give a complaint to the registrar against, you can give a complaint. That is what the law says, that if you have any grievance against the judge, if you feel that the particular judge is corrupt, the particular forum for giving a complaint against the judges, you can go and meet the Chief Justice, Madras High Court, to give a complaint. You can give a complaint, or otherwise you can send it by post, and they will be inquired. Or otherwise, there is a registrar in the Madras High Court. You can give a complaint against the High Court judge, and there is a Vigilance Department. You can give a complaint, or otherwise you can send a complaint to the Chief Justice, Supreme Court, or otherwise you can give a complaint to the President of India. This is what the law says. But you should not go and talk before the TV about irresponsibility. You could not go and talk with the YouTube about it. This is nothing but a very irresponsible act which Savukku Shankar had done. There are also some good judges. I want to tell some incidences. And there is one judge, even now he is working as a judge in Madras High Court. The judge name is Prakash. He is still working. Prakash. I want to tell a particular incident. Prakash judge was conducting a bail court. I was present in that court. Bail court was going on. Prakash was the Justice Prakash was the judge, and I was just noticing. At that point of time, a senior advocate had come into the court. Vijayan is name, very senior advocate. Most of the judges will give respect to him because he was the very most senior advocate. He had entered into the court. Justice Prakash was conducting the case, and after seeing the advocate Vijayan, he had stopped.